Okay, hello everybody. It's a pleasure to be meeting you here today. I am Adebayo Samuel Adedoyin, and it's always a wonderful time that we share together here every Saturday, talking about different things that affect life and society. All right. For some time now, we have been talking about something very interesting called paradigms for personal and societal growth. So, we have been doing several topics, several series. We began with patriotism. We looked at the right education. We looked at so many things that we could learn from that can bring about, you know, a change in the way we think, a change in our perception, a change in the assumptions that we have, that can make us think differently in such a way that can bring about, growth in our lives and, of course, in our nations. Great. So, I bring you greetings from my lovely wife, Esther Ganja Adedoyin. And I know for some time she hasn't been able to come live to us, but soon, definitely, you're going to see her wonderful face again. And of course, her impactful words. Yeah. Um, Now, how many of us have listened to the last broadcast that we did? Meanwhile, this is going to be this is a recorded um, broadcast. Um, for some time, for one or two reasons, we are struggling with timing and the fact that we just need to get this thing done. All right, so we apologize, but nevertheless, we will always do a watch party so that everybody can see this video and learn from it. Definitely, I also will be commenting and I will be asking for your opinions in the chat section. So yes, so last week we talked last a fortnight ago we talked about focus, the force of focus. Last week we did part two, all right, and I just want to quickly ask us how many of us have begun to gauge the temperature of our focus. How many of you how many of you watched the video? How many of you tried to apply the principles being given to us there? How many of you have begun to focus on what is necessary? How many of you have been able to remove distractions in whatever way it comes? So please, I want to see your comments on the comment section. Please tell us what you are learning. Tell us how what you are learning is impacting your life. Tell us um, how you are making use of what you are learning. And also, please share this video. Let so many people who are all around you, your friends, your family, your neighbors, even your enemies. Let them see this video. Let them learn something from it. Definitely, those enemies could be your friend because of what they're going to be learning. All right. Yeah. So let's kick off. Today we are still on the same series. We'll be looking at a subtopic called selfless living. Selfless living. Selfless living. Now, this is a topic that in so many circles is hardly talked about, but it's a virtue and it's a value be um, that can be practiced and that can be a part of us, which will definitely bring about growth in our lives and in our society. Actually, when we talk about selfless living, you know, um, it's something. It's an idea or an ideology, that so many people frown at, okay, because of course they are all their lives. The assumptions that they have had are something like, well, whatever I do, whether it is uh, whether it is work or whether it is for pleasure or whatever it is, I should do it first for myself. I should satisfy myself. Those are some of the examples that we are talking about. You may have heard somebody say, I take no responsibility for whatever I did not do, or whatever I did not use, or whatever I did not damage. Okay, I take no responsibility. It's not my responsibility. It's not my, I don't care about it. So far as it is, I'm not attached. I'm not, it doesn't concern me, you know. So that's some of the preconceptions, that's some of the perceptions, that's some of the assumptions that people have in their mind. They assume that whatever that they did not get involved in, they should not have any responsibility for. So, well, what can we do? Well, some other people may say something like, well, once I am able to secure my life, once I'm able to secure my family, once I'm able to, you know, ensure that I work, I earn money, I buy a house, and I give my children the best education. Um, all my loved ones are well cared for. That's what concerns me. Every other thing is inconsequential. Well, that's the basic mindset. That is so many ways that some people think. All right. The question is, maybe you are, you are some of the you are among those kind of people that think this way. Well, this live broadcast is for you. Is for you. Now, it is not only you that thinks that way. So many people thinks that way. It's just like the average man's mentality. Whether you are an African, whether you are an American, whether you come from Europe, whether you come from Australia, whether you come from Antarctica, wherever you come from, whatever continent you come from, it is just the you know basic mindset of an average person. Okay, whatever the roots, whatever your color, whatever your race, whatever your language, it doesn't really matter. It is just a mindset. All right. Now, many people carry this kind of mindset into their day-to-day life and activities. They carry this kind of mindset into the workplace. They carry this kind of mindset into the college, where they study. They carry this kind of mindset into their community, their society. They carry this kind of mindset into, probably they are into politics or into business or into governance, wherever it is. They find themselves. Because of course, it is a mentality, it is the way they think. And whatever position that they hold, they are only there physically, but in their minds, they operate whatever position they hold based on how they think. Sorry about that. Now, an average worker resumes work with the hope that at the end of the month, he or she will receive salary and take care of his family. All his duty, assignments given to him is majorly done just to please the employer, win favors from his or her employer. All right. But the central reason why he's doing that job is so that at the end of the month, he can get his pay or she can get her pay. All right. So all the what's it called? All the good words, all the calm attitude, all the um, all the good character that he or she is exhibiting is only doing that so that so that the employer can like him or her, and so that she can be getting her money well, so she can have a good record. But the main thing is about what he or she will gain, what he or she will get. Now, the employer, in his or her own right, though runs a business, the most important thing to any employer is how to make maximum profit. Maximum profit with human, less capital, less human resources, less material resources. Okay, so that is the whole essence of whole essence of of doing a business. That's the whole essence of employers doing business. So it is just to make profit, earns, gains, basically. If you look at a public administrator, as an example, the public administrator is only carrying his or her duty, is only being seen as a public administrator because because he or she is doing a job. His or her activities is only so that at the end of the day, he or she will get benefits. All right. Okay. So if they work somewhere, they are looking at the clock, the hand of the clock. Once it strikes 5, or maybe 6 in some places, he or she packs his bag and moves away, leaves for home. Okay. That is just the average mentality of every man. Okay. Now look at politicians. Politicians canvasses for votes of the masses. To him or her, getting to the position of power is ultimate. Is the most important thing. Now, he or she will do just anything just to ensure that they get these votes. Okay? They make endless promises just to convince gullible masses to vote for them. All they are interested in is getting to the place or the position of power. Every other thing that happens afterwards is a tale to tell. Let us look at political parties. Political parties write manifestos. Political parties, they try all their best to win elections. But what do we see afterwards? Eventually, what happens is that we see the conglomeration of bigwigs who are not interested in the people that they want to serve. Rather, they are interested in winning contracts, getting allocated resources, fattening their bank accounts. They don't really have the masses at heart. Basically, they live on the benefits, resources that could have saved a soul, that could have helped a family, that could have helped refurbish, or redevelop a society. A community, make life better for some people. So basically, all these examples I'm giving are sad cases of the opposite of selflessness, called selfish living. Now, quickly, let us look at what is selfless living. What do we mean by selfless living? What do you mean? Let us sit back, okay? Let us try to think. Of course, we may have heard such kind of things before, right? Probably we may even have talked about it in your mind. What do you think is selfless living? As I'll be talking, I want you to also write something on the comment section what you think is selfless living. Selfless living is that mindset, that style of living and livelihood that considers other people, paramount over them, paramount over their own desires. That is selfless living. What's your own definition of selfless living? It should be something similar to this. Other people must be involved, and there should be some kind of preference over your own desires. Preference for them. Now, a selfless life asks the question each time he or she wants to do something, how will what I'm about to do affect my neighbor positively or negatively? That is the question that comes quickly to the mind of a selfless life. Because he or she is already always thinking about other people. He doesn't want to inconvenience other people. Rather, he wants to make life better for them. A selfless mindset is that which thinks through before taking an action. In other words, a selfless mindset is very thoughtful. Are you very thoughtful? Do you think about other people? Do you consider other people above your own wishes and your own desires? Or do you go ahead and do things just for the sake of doing them? Or just because you want to benefit from them? Have you ever thought of how whatever it is that you do will have an impact, either negatively or positively, on other people? A selfless life has his conscience to deal with all the time. A selfless life does not want to cross boundaries. A selfless life values morals and ethics a lot. Do you value morals and ethics? A selfless life lives life not as a matter of compulsion, but over time with gratitude. Gratitude. That is a life of a selfless life. That is the mindset of a selfless life. The mindset of a selfless life is always about gratitude, thanksgiving, appreciation. That's a selfless life. A selfless mind's vision, mission, aims and objectives, goals and aspirations always has something to do with helping someone or a group of people, especially those who are not related to him or her. That is what we mean. That is what we talk about, what we mean when we talk about selfless living. Do you live selflessly? Do you have a selfless mind? One of the ways to experience personal and societal growth is by living selflessly. It is that important that even several religions, including the Christian faith, encourages selflessness. For example, it is written in the Holy Bible Everybody knows this verse at least. It is written that love your neighbor as yourself, which is the second greatest commandment. The first greatest commandment is love your God with all of your heart, with all of your mind, with all of your strength. Right? So, can you imagine when it comes to in Christianity, when it comes to God, one of after God, after God, the most important thing is to live selflessly. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Now, even the Muslim faith also supports selflessness. What do I mean? I try to find something that can support this whole idea. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'll try. One of the books, Al-Hashir, um, chapter 59, verse 9, says, give them, talking about immigrants now, and give them preference over themselves, even though they were in need of that. All right? I mean, that particular verse was referring to immigrants. That is, it was trying to say that they should give more preference to those people who are emigrating. All right? All right? So, because they need it, all right? So that is how to show that they are true Muslims. Okay? So when you see a foreigner, for example, coming in, you welcome the foreigner, all right? You give preference to them, all right? You help them to feel at home. You support them. You do all that the person can feel comfortable, all right? So giving preference to others over yourself is an act of living selflessly. Okay, I'm trying to touch a few, faiths and religions. Okay, I try to also look at at Confucius. All right. Okay, I found a quote by Confucius which says, "Virtue is more to man than either water or fire. I have seen men die from treading on water and fire, but I have never seen a man die from treading the course of virtue." That's Confucius. Now, in an article written um, by some man called Joseph, from San Diego, I found this article online, okay, on myhero.com about Confucius. In that article, Joseph wrote, he said, "It is said that Confucius taught men that they should live by virtue. But virtue alone is not enough, especially for the society. Society needs guidance on how to act with one another. If everyone did their part in maintaining society, everything would flow harmoniously together. So instead of being selfish and thinking of personal outcome, one should be selfless and think only of the total outcome. In other words, this person was saying, you know, of Confucius that he values selflessness, and Confucius preaches selflessness. And he was particularly saying that selflessness is a great benefit for society. Now, quickly, because of our time, how does selfless living bring growth to you? How does it bring growth to you? I've listed a few points that will amaze you. Number one, on a conscious level, it reduces focus from you and concentrates on other people. The question is, how does that make me grow? Well, it makes you grow because it makes you mature. It makes you grow because it helps you to accommodate other people, to see from other people's perspective, to understand other people. That's growth. Some people are thinking only about monetary growth or personal gains, but there's growth. Growth should be all around. A selfless life, that's number two. A selfless life will never have the sense of lack because he or she is always giving. Please underline what I said. A selfless life will never have the sense of lack. Why? He or she is always giving. You must have heard this analysis or description. The person who is giving, he or she, his hand is always on top. The person who is receiving, he or she, the hand is always below. So when he's always giving, his hand can be this way. It's always this way. He's always on top. That's why I said a selfless life will never have a sense of lack because he or she is always giving. Now, the third point, a selfless life has a lot of friends. There is a saying that the rich man is not he who has money in his pocket, but it's he who is able to make others around him rich. That is the real rich man. So you need to start thinking differently and to start having a different paradigm about focusing on yourself. You start thinking selflessly. The fourth point I would like to say before I go to something else is selfless living attracts favor to you naturally. Selfless living attracts favor to you naturally. Men can easily entrust big things to someone who is selfless. Why? Because they will naturally trust a person that he or she will do the work well, will not do the work selfishly, but will think about others and will see how to benefit other people. That's why it is beneficial. That's why it pays to live selflessly. Will you start thinking that way now? Now, How does selfless living brings growth to society? How does selfless living bring growth to society? Number one, people will stop thinking about themselves, will stop thinking about their pocket, their families alone, their, you know, their unborn children alone. All right. Okay. Now, selfless living will reduce corruption, will reduce bribery, will reduce mismanagement to the barest minimum in any society if people in that society practice selfless living. Number two, society will experience a renaissance, a rebirth. How? Think about it. Everyone would always want to help one another. They would always want to serve each other. It will be like brothers in a family. They will always look for the interest of each other. They'll always look out for each other. They'll always support each other. That's what selfless living does for a society. The last point I will mention here before I come to an end of this live broadcast is selfless living will make people to be forward thinking. What do I mean? Selfless living will bring about innovations, lots of innovation and advancement in society. Think about it. When there is a problem, people will begin to think of how to solve that problem because they have other people at heart. And for that reason, they will come to some mind, some real big ideas. Okay? They'll come to some, innovations that can solve lots of problems. Okay, in different ways. So think of it. If a continent like Africa begins to live selflessly, wow, in a short time, a continent as Africa will advance to become a first world continent. A first world continent. Okay? And if what we call the first world countries today, they stick to or they live selflessly, what would happen? People will begin to live in the future. That's the power of selfless living. Now, don't you think we all need to have that paradigm shift? It will definitely bring about growth to our personal lives and our society. I have to stop here right now. I will appreciate all your comments, all your greetings, all your questions. I'll be following even as you share them. But for now, I gotta go. Thanks for being with us, staying with us. Once again, regards from Esther. Bye for now.